Well, here in Paris, the Women's Forum opens its doors today. It will be on through Friday at the Carrousel du Louvre, which is part of the Louvre Museum. With me on the set now, Audrey Tcherkoff, the Executive President of the Positive Economy Institute and the Managing Director of the Women's Forum. Audrey, it's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you for your invitation.
First of all, I was just reading through some of the numbers, and one really jumps out. Yeah. You say that women's rights have been rolled back 36 years over the past few years. How did you come up with that number, and what does that mean exactly?
So first of all, the 36 years that we've lost in 1 year of pandemic are adding up, to the years. So in total, we are going to have to wait 136 years to see what an equal world looks like. Why did we lose so much time? So first of all, 11 million of girls went out of school because the poverty that increased, forced the family to take the little girls out of the schools and either to, help within the family and help to take care of the house, of the brothers, sisters, or also to get married at a very young age. So we are seeing those terrible, mariage forcé, increased massively. On top of that, women, much more than men, stopped working. For instance, if we only take the example of France, which is an advanced and rich country, obviously, women have stopped working 2 times more than men. From the 1st March 2020, up to the 1st of May 2020, 1/3 of the active population for women stopped working. And then we also have the violence, that increased drastically. And all of that makes, the women's rights, which are human rights, this is what Hillary Clinton said a few years ago, drop back. And that's why we have to act, and that's why the Women's Forum is starting today.
Indeed. And what advice would you give to women viewers today, perhaps, to fight against this inequality?
Well, many messages. So first of all, the Women's Forum is starting digitally today. So I engage, your audience and the people who are looking at us to go online and understand more about what it is about. So we are going to talk about the link between women and climate. We know that the women are the first victims of climate change. This is something we don't really talk about. 80%, in fact, which is a huge number of climate refugees, are women, because women are in charge to bring, in most of the developing country, fuel, water and food at home. And, with the dry out, they have to walk, further and further, and sometimes they have to displace themselves permanently. So this is something we have to address. And if we look, on the other side of the mirror, we can also see that women are not sitting at the decision table when it comes to the financial decision or the key strategic decision when it comes to climate change. I was at the COP. I just came back from Glasgow a couple of days ago, and I can tell you I didn't see much women there, actually. In the world, we only have 12% of the Ministry of Environment who are women. We are also going to talk tomorrow about the link between women and tech. Women are largely underrepresented in the tech sector. In France, again, only 30% of our engineers are women. In the world, it's only 25%. We are going to talk about women and business. We have 224 women entrepreneurs in the world. Do you know how much percentage they get access to in terms of funding? 1%. Of private and public funding go to women who are entrepreneurs. So how we can act, we can all act each at our own level. And this is what we are going to see this year during our program, is that whether you are an activist, whether you are an economic leader, a political leader, you can do something, whether it's through the relaunch plan, because the relaunch plan do not take the measure of the urgency and the emergency, as we started to talk, with regards to the 36 years that we've just lost. And also the CEOs, on Friday, actually, we are organizing a lunch called the CEO Champions Lunch, because we are gathering the top CEOs, not only in France, because it's very international. We are actually welcoming more than 100 nationalities during that Women's Forum, because we want them to take concrete commitments to make sure that they include the gender perspective, like in the data that they are working on, and also in the senior management position.
Audrey, just very briefly before we go, is there one country that's best in class, one country that's really an example for other countries in the world?
Well, I have to say that France is the champions in terms of women participating on the boards. But that's because of the Loi Copé-Zimmermann that was voted 10 years ago. And that's actually a strong message, because we see when we go through coercive measures, it works. And if there is one figure that we should keep in mind during that conversation, Jenny, we have released a barometer. The Women's Forum has released a barometer 2 weeks ago. It's a survey that we have done with the citizens in the G20 countries. 83% of the citizens in the G20 countries are saying that they want to see strong measures in their own country, meaning they want to see the list of the companies who are not respecting the gender equality in terms of wages, income, and they want them to pay a fine when they don't respect the equality.
Audrey, thank you so much for sharing all of your expertise with us. Audrey Tcherkoff, who's the Managing Director of the Women's Forum that's on now in Paris through Friday. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jenny.